Hi, guys. Welcome to the Marketing Rizz Podcast. I am your host, Crispino, and today we are joined by David Kenney from Sydney, Australia. David works with founders, CEOs, and family offices, helping them build a strategy, hire, and scale. David is also the CEO of Epic Execution and runs a podcast under that name. So, if you are a founder or an entrepreneur or a CEO looking to scale your business, this episode is for you. So, welcome to the show, David. It is great to have you here with us.
Thank you so much, Crispino. It's great to be on your podcast. Love your work.
Lovely, lovely. Thank you, David. So, David, to get started, the floor is yours. Could you start by telling off a bit about yourself and what you do?
Rightio. Well, I spend most of my days being an advisor to several family offices, and then I also give a lot of time to startups, getting them ready to pitch or hire, or to go overseas, or to sell to large corporates. So I spend a lot of time with founders. I spend a lot of time with venture capital firms, including one of them a venture partner at called Black Nova. And so that entails, again, working with a couple of companies that I've been assigned to help. And that could be anything from getting them into different meetings that they might not be able to get into, through to looking at their revenue models or cash flows, or being able to solve problems around hiring, finding the right people, talent, what they do next,
Lovely.
how they leverage their team, what they focus on. So there's never a dull moment. There's lots of troubles, opportunities, great days, tough days, but it's always fun. And I guess the third thing I do is I've written a book, and in writing that book, I spend a lot of time with founders doing essentially just same sorts of things. We've got a process called, in Australia, it's called the Startup World Cup, which we have some teams that pitch to go into. It's a competition where they go over to Silicon Valley. We ran that last year with my friend Leo Dinas from Australliance and what's called Startup on Angels. And that's a lot of fun. So again, the same sorts of stuff, helping people raise capital, get ready, hire, build the right things, validate, sell, and hopefully succeed on the global stage. So that's the muster and background is. I used to do M&A transactions. I still do a little bit of work in that space, but mainly helping people get ready. And could be looking at, does a family office invest in this, or how do they get, if they've got a problem with a team, or how do they get access to deals, or how do they assess the deal, or how do they decide when it's time to leave something. So it's, as I said, never a dull moment. Lots of deals, capital, hiring, and strategy.
That's lovely. How do you manage to stay on top of it all? Like, I find managing one business difficult to run, and here you are managing like 3 to 4 different operations. That's amazing.
I like to think I'm not managing them. What I'm
Yeah.
doing is I'm like a little bit like a coach, and the coach doesn't have to run on the field.
Yeah, fair
But,
enough.
I'm very much the person that when something's wrong, we talk about it, we go through the
Mm,
challenges or the scenarios, work out what might be the right thing to do. Never tell. Sometimes you got to make a call, but other times you're
yeah.
just asking the CEO, you're helping get some clarity around whatever the issue is. But again, I just am vigilant with my diary, my calendar. So I've got
Mm,
days that I'm available for consulting, days that I'm doing fun, like podcasts,
yeah.
or even going to Reiki or whatever, something like that, but just fun. And then
Lovely.
there's obviously research, and the rest of it's just time I spend with founders that, they want some coaching, or they want to ask a question or whatever, and they
Yeah.
need introductions. So there's some admin, what you might expect. It's just the challenges of 2026 and beyond, and winning in this environment.
Absolutely.
Lots
Yeah.
of hard work.
Yeah. So how have you seen the industry, the work culture, startup landscape, everything evolve? I think you've been in this for over 2 decades now, right? So what
I
has
have, you're pointing out my age there, Christopher.
I did have a look at your LinkedIn, so yeah.
No, I've been working with startups, or they weren't even called startups when I started working with them. They were
Yeah.
people that invented stuff,
Yeah.
and helping them spin technology out of universities, or um, partner with large corporates
Yeah.
to do pilots or whatever. I mean, I've
Mm,
been doing that sort of stuff for a long time now, and it's sort of, the only thing I've
mm,
been focused on for a long time. And
yeah.
plus the M&A side and tax as well, a bit of tax.
Yeah.
So you get to see a lot of good deals and put deals together
Hmm.
yourself, and that sort of thing makes it really interesting. And being able to put a deal together is where a lot of value can be made.
Yeah. But how have you seen, like, if you had to summarize the evolution of the landscape in your field of work, how would you summarize it, like, in a couple of sentences?
It's moving faster than it ever has. Things are like in a week you could miss 6 or 7 key updates,
Hmm.
whereas that
Yeah.
might have taken a whole year last year, last 10 years. I think there's more. I mean, everything is there's so much hype around AI, but it's also obviously
Hmm.
probably the most fundamental thing that's happened in the tech sector. So I mean, I was over in Silicon Valley late last year and saw 98 companies pitch, and AI is at the center of the universe with that, but
Hmm.
also so are the really interesting markets. People are creating new markets for different products, etc. I think it's in some ways, people are still out there solving problems, but they're needing to move much faster because the competition's moving,
Hmm.
goalposts are moving, teams are moving, and expecting to get results faster, ship faster. So I just think the speed of things has moved up like at a rate of
Hmm.
knots, as opposed to it used to be
Yeah.
pretty frenetic, but it's now just gone next level.
Yeah. Absolutely. So you spoke about AI there. How has your experience been with AI so far?
I've just really loved the last 2 years of learning, and
Hmm.
Um, my background has been, like I had a lot of people working for me. And so, my job was to go and talk to people, do deals, but I've just immersed myself in the technology now. So I've loved it, using
Hmm.
every tool,
Hmm.
playing around with things, seeing if they work and how to make them perform. Working with some unbelievably crazily talented CTOs, one in particular, and like testing my knowledge, getting him to give me feedback on, no, you can't do it that way, you got to do it this way. So
Hmm.
learning a lot, and I feel like it's a great equalizer. So my background in putting deals together, I can now also crunch numbers in minutes,
Hmm.
and I can also look at how workflows work, and you just move so much faster. You don't need 100
Hmm.
people to do anything anymore. You can just get
Yeah.
it done just myself. Like, it's crazy. I'm thinking I'm doing stuff
Yeah.
I'd never thought I'd do.
Absolutely. What's been your one favorite AI tool that you've used and you absolutely love it?
Ooh, so it's choosing children. I must admit, I'm very partial to the Claude suite. I like,
Oh, is it? Okay.
I love all of that. I haven't tried a couple of things like people say, have you done Claude? And so have you done
Perplexity.
Yeah, Perplexity. Haven't touched
Yeah.
that. But I've just been right down the rabbit hole in the Claude Suite code, and just having fun with that, and
Yeah.
testing different scenarios and building tools and saying, okay, let's validate that. Should this actually
Yeah.
light of day?
Yeah.
Co-work, um, all the different. I've gone from
Hmm.
ChatGPT to Gemini to Grok to
Yeah.
Copilot. I've tried them all. I'm
Yeah.
learning lots from each one. And again, just thinking, how does this actually make a difference to margin and retention and
Hmm.
customer satisfaction? If it can't do that, it's probably not that useful.
Fair enough. I love N10. So have you tried the N10 platform? You can build agents on it.
Oh,
N10?
N8N, no. I haven't.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
done
yeah.
Lovable. I've done
Okay.
Lovable,
Yeah.
11.
That's for the website, the vibe coded website. 11 Labs is good as well. Yeah.
uh,
So we
Yeah.
actually built a in-house agent where you can put up your pictures and voice recordings and it creates a clone, like a clone video for you. So that with
Yeah.
some editing and it makes a really good video. I'll show you the video after the call. But
Okay.
yeah, the videos are really amazing. And that's so amazing because before to record a video, it would take me about 3 hours or so with multiple edits and a bad throat at the end of it because you have to repeat the script. And now that's all gone away. So that's great use of AI that we've made
Oh my
and you'll
God.
be
Yeah.
able to,
Marketers have got so many more tools at their disposal. It's pretty interesting to see what happens like with companies like Canva. It's going to be
yes.
interesting.
Oh, Canva is done well as well. Yeah.
Canva is exceptional. Canva is an exceptional Australian company.
Australian company. Yes.
Very, very, very
Love it.
much Australian company. Um, yeah, they're one of the pin-ups in Australia, deservedly so, with
Yeah.
proudly supported by some of the very good venture capital funds in Australia, including Blackbird.
Yeah. Lovely, lovely. Yeah, I remember when I was in Melbourne from 2016 to 2021, I used Canva a lot in my school decks and then creating stuff for my clients. So yes, Canva, I vouch for it. It's one of the
Ah,
best
great
tools.
company. Great company.
Yeah. Yeah. So you spoke a bit about, so since we are on the topic of Canva and being an Australian company, how is the startup ecosystem like in Australia and how is the government kind of supporting it?
It's been a bit of a mixed bag. I mean, one of the key pillars of assistance to Australian companies has been the R&D
Mm,
tax concession, which is where a company is spending money in Australia on eligible R&D expenses, which are,
mhm,
this isn't tax advice, but on innovative things which have technical risk or are genuinely innovative. Um,
mhm,
there's a money back. There is actually, through the tax system, you can get up to 43 cents or 43.5 cents in the dollar, roughly. Don't quote me.
mhm,
I used to know it intimately, but that's a big pillar in terms of what the government has provided. And state governments have also provided, like the New South Wales government's had on again, off again, and then I think it's on again as well, that MVP grants, there's grants for female founders. I think
mm,
there's also other innovation style grants where there's commercialization. There's been a lot of different initiatives over the years, and we've had a minister for innovation at one stage. There's been lots of uh, communities pop up. One that I'm very proud of is StartMate, which is one of the earliest
mhm.
accelerators in Australia. One of the very, very good companies that have come out of StartMate. But it's quite a deep um, number of groups that have done and made a big difference. And also a lot of the VCs like Blackbird and Airtree have created a great community
Mhm.
through not only events, but also other programs for things like First Believers. Recently, I interviewed Michael Batko on my podcast, and Nikki Shabak was one of the founders. And he actually says, Michael Batko has really reinvented or is the founder of StartMate. So there's a deep connection there, and I know that Nikki and Mike Cannon Brooks are very good friends.
Mm.
So that's another very, very good Australian company. That's Atlassian. But
Yeah.
there's safety culture. There's lots and lots of big commerce, one of my very favorites as well.
Mm.
Lots of Australian companies. In fact, I think Australia's been on a list which has had more unicorns per capita. That's a big, big, I guess, milestone to say that we've really punched above our weight in many respects in
Yeah.
Australia. We've had some good, talented CEOs and teams, and there's also access to capital. There's another
Yeah.
great VC is Black Nova. That's I'm a part of that group as a
Mhm.
venture partner. Great team there, and great investments as well. So the money is there. You don't have to be in the US, full stop, or have to
Mm.
be anywhere. You can make it work from Australia.
Mm.
Obviously, there's some incentives and access and challenges with more customers overseas, but it's a very good place for a start. And if you're starting to think about scaling globally, early days, then there's a number of initiatives and platforms and support networks. Australian founders that have gone all over the world, and particularly the US,
Mm.
that have lent a helping hand to so many founders that have followed in their footsteps. So it's been extremely gratifying to see how generous and powerful that network has become.
That's lovely. Yeah, I remember my time in Australia. Also, there's a lot of uh, support for students, I'd say, like in our university, there are a lot of these startup sessions that happen, a lot of
Yeah,
meetup mixers. I used to attend a lot of meetups in Melbourne from the startup community. I was a part of many of these groups as well. So, yes, look, I would say the scene is quite thriving out there as well.
absolutely. I mean, Melbourne University, Victoria University, there's a whole bunch of really good
Yeah.
universities in Australia and Sydney and New South Wales where I went to. UTS, they all have a very good program for startups and very inviting and encouraging, for that matter, for students to be part of this, and they get great speakers,
Yeah.
opportunities to go and partner with corporates. Not as much as I'd like, but that's,
Yeah.
there's always room
Yeah.
for improvement there. But it's been fun, and I think Australia has, for the population, done pretty well. I mean, it could always do better,
Yeah.
but there's always tomorrow.
And I remember a lot of non-university, I don't know what you call them, like one-day shows where we had Gary Vee come to speak. We had Grant Cardone, Neil Patel, like, all these guys would have their, like a talk session kind of a thing. I don't know what you call that, but
We
that's
have
again another.
lots of those. We've had things like South by Southwest come to
Uh-huh.
Sydney. We've had TechCrunch
Yeah.
come to Sydney. In fact, one of the companies that I'm very close to, they won the competition. They won the
Oh,
pitch
lovely.
competition. And then they've also had Techstars. That's been in Australia for a few years. It unfortunately is closed. Jason Calacanis's program's been in Australia. In
Yeah,
fact,
these are
you
really
mentioned,
important. I think these are
yeah,
really
you
important to
mentioned
kind
Neil
of.
Patel. Neil Patel was on my podcast as well.
Yeah, I'd seen that. Yeah, that was lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard a bit of it. Yeah, he's one
Hmm.
of the gurus in marketing and
He
SEO.
knows his stuff,
So
that boy. He knows his
yeah,
stuff.
yes, absolutely. Cool.
Hmm.
So David, you work with a lot of leaders, a lot of C-suite leaders, entrepreneurs. So I'd like to ask you, what are some of the common traits that you see in these successful leaders?
There's been a few studies actually that have been put together on what are the key ingredients of success
Hmm.
and what are the markers to look for, which can be useful for both investors, but also for founders to not go on the journey if they aren't cut from the right things.
Hmm.
But I really think that curiosity is a big one. I think the
Hmm.
ability to sell. People aren't necessarily born leaders, but they need to learn to lead.
Yeah.
They need to know themselves. They need to be aware of their biases, behaviors, their
Hmm.
circumstances, their ability to interact and to lead with empathy or lead with courage and empathy, not just say everything's going to be okay, but, or
Hmm.
you just take it easy, but just like, you don't have to be a dick to get people to work hard. You can be encouraging, uplifting, and setting the bar at a high
Hmm.
level, even thinking about your team as almost like a professional sports team rather than a
Hmm.
family, so that we're setting this standard. We have an expectation, we have a goal, we have very clear outcomes that we're trying
Hmm.
to. I think in what I'm trying to say in some summation is, a great founder is usually a very good communicator,
Hmm.
salesperson. They've got an insane level of clarity for what the world's going to be like when they've achieved this outcome, and they just won't take no for an answer. They'll keep going. So maybe that's grit, and they
Yeah.
maybe need to be a little bit crazy as well to be
Yeah.
just crazy enough to think they can make it happen, but maybe not pathologically optimistic.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think every founder needs to have a little hint of craziness in them to kind of be successful. What are some of the mistakes that you see these founders make? Sorry, I didn't get you there.
I think you're right. It helps. So having a little bit of that as well. So
Yeah.
some mistakes that I guess it's really, I mean, maybe a recent one is like getting too familiar with prompts and understanding what AI
Mm.
thinks, really talking to enough customers. You can't prompt your way to product market fit. You've got to go and A/B test with real people and real customers and go out and talk to
Yeah.
people. And I have actually saw a survey recently where, I can't remember the exact percentage, but I think it might have been somewhere between 65 and 70% of people, maybe
Yeah.
this doesn't apply to founders, how like speaking to strangers is like their greatest fit.
Yeah.
So being intimate with the problem and really understanding how to get someone to talk about the issues and the pain and I call it being
Mm.
a pain guru, so that you can understand how life would be better if this could be solved, what the workarounds are. So like insight to innovation bridges, like what would
Mm.
that look like if it were built? How much value would be added? How would we capture it? How would we price it? How would we keep it? How would we amplify it? How do we keep that focus as our main focus on
Mm.
always selling, always hiring the right people, always hiring salespeople, testing, validating, finding the truth, not the the narrative.
So that's a very interesting thing you spoke there about A/B testing. Recently, I had a potential, like a lead come up to me and saying that, Chris, we want to do marketing. We want to invest in email marketing, but we want results. We want guaranteed results. And that they had never done email marketing or something of that sort before. Like, what would be what kind of a mind shift does a person or a leader like that have to have? And how should they be more open to marketing according to you? How should they view marketing as in 2026?
Well, first of all, guarantees a hard word. Like it's a very high bar, guarantee results. I feel like there's a very specific process when it comes to marketing. And in fact, obviously, don't need to tell you, but when a lot of people think marketing is, let's go and spend some money on ads. Or alternatively, let's spend all our money on getting our brand right or our story right. But getting the right product in front of the right customers with the right message is a lot harder than it sounds. And being ready to spend money on marketing rather than validating your ICP and like really calibrating, are we going after the right customer? Do we know where they're hanging out? Do we know what their behaviors are when the inflection point is at which they will make a decision to buy something? How much intent can we gain from geo? So rather than looking at SEO these days and understanding what percentage of people come to ChatGPT, for example, with an intention to buy something, in which case, how do they find you? How do you optimize the search and findability with the types of behaviors, needs, wishes that they have? So I feel like there's a lot of pressure. And in fact, it's another interesting fact is that the CMO is the most churned themselves role in the C-suite. It's because the customer doesn't stand still. Like he keeps, or they keep moving. You don't get to product market fit and say, done. It's just an evolving, it keeps evolving. So what is it about when someone's ready to market? I think someone's ready to market when they know their person and they need to reach more of them and they understand that I've priced this product adequately.
Yeah.
So I can spend the money. I think two of the key things really, if you don't understand what margins and how to price, you are probably going to choose the wrong business model. So that pricing is so important. I think a lot of founders spend very little time or they go, what are other people charging? So what you're already admitting is someone else knows more about pricing than you do, or what does it cost people? So how much do they understand about how someone buys that decision? And the product itself should be something that the founder has expertise in. The founder should know what buyers think. So by narrowing the insight to be able to be more targeted, you usually get a better result with marketing anyway. So it's not like you can say, let me just outsource marketing and I'll have a magic wand.
It needs to come from the founder.
Yeah, it needs to come from the founder. The founder is the expert. Now, the founder might need to be asked some questions.
Yeah.
And I've worked with people that have sat on calls where they said, let me give you this, let me give you that, let me do this for you, let me do that for you. But I say that poisons the founder's brain. So I think the founder needs to work through their own thinking. They need to really think, how is the customer experiencing this? Not what do we do? How's my H1 and my H2 align? What should be above the fold, below the fold, whatever you want to call it? If you can't get someone's attention in 3 seconds, you're not clear enough. If you can't get somebody to give you another 3 seconds, you're probably not going to make a sale. So it's earned media, earned attention. Now, I don't care how you go at anything. Like you've got to know your product. You've got to know who your customers are. You've got to be able to explain the problem better than the customer can themselves. It earns trust. It earns proximity. It earns more eyeballs, trust all the time. The algorithm gods reward you if you're on Twitter or LinkedIn or X rather, wherever you are. Like, there's rules for what gets shared, what gets, this is how what people see, what they feel is what they'll then do.
Yeah. And you keep doing it, it compounds and then, algorithm gods reward you. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, you're developing a flywheel. You're learning what people want. You're learning what people see. You're learning what people feel. You're learning what people do. You're learning what people drop off.
Yeah.
You can get great people like you. But at the end of the day, that requires deep thought, and you can get someone that can help you execute. You can't abrogate understanding the client to someone else.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I like to look at marketing as a mixture of art and science. Like you need the science behind it, but it's also like an art. You need to love it and you need to know about it and how your audience will perceive it and create a strong messaging or a brand.
Absolutely spot on. Very true. And positioning, setting the customer up to buy, because people hate it when you sell to them. They love to buy,
Yeah.
but when I
They don't
find
want to
I
be
sit
sold
in,
at.
yeah, they want to be sold. So I find I sit
Yeah.
into, like someone says, oh, I'm putting this go-to-market meeting on. Can you please come along and listen to it? Okay, I'll listen. And all they're doing is they're telling people how to sell. Like, I want to hear about how to create a buy. How do I get a Fortune 500 company to buy this? How do I get my team to ask better questions? How do I get my inside champion to tell my story? Now that's not something that you can start and go. You gotta figure it out. There's no playbook because that's what someone
Yeah,
else did.
absolutely.
You do what I did, you get what I got is rubbish. So people that are out there saying, I read this book
Yeah.
and now I've got a playbook about this book, you're laughing because it's rubbish, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Yeah,
there is no making money with cheap junk.
absolutely. Yeah.
Like it's got to work. It's got to be real. It's got to be measured. It's got to be thoughtful. It's got to be differentiated. It's got to truly understand the problem, how the value is created, how the pricing's done, what the psychology of the buyer is, what are they protecting against, what are they optimizing for, what are they thinking is really the question behind the question the customer's asking. How they
Yeah.
de-risk, create more margin, create an opportunity to get another meeting, to build more trust, to close, to deal with objections, and then also work out, have I priced this adequately so that I can make sure they renew and I can properly service that customer. If I can't service that customer will churn. I tell you what, a churn customer kills you more than winning one new one. The
There's
quality of earned
there's a data set that like retaining a customer is much more cheaper than acquiring a new one.
7 times.
7 times. Yeah. There you go.
The cost of winning a customer is 7 times more expensive than the cost of retaining a customer. People just want to fill the bucket. They don't worry about the leaks.
Yeah, absolutely.
They go,
Yeah, I've
where are you
seen
going to
that
get more
happen.
stuff? Sales
Yeah, yeah,
fixes everything. Sales fixes everything.
yeah.
I don't think it fixes
No,
everything. What I think it does is it replaces the one you lost.
yeah. But yeah, I've
So you did
seen a company in my own experience, like there was a lot of leakage happening. And I don't remember the number, but the churn was about 30 or 40% of,
it's not a business.
yeah, for a business, service business.
It's a conveyor belt.
And yeah, and then they fixed it. And the
Now it's a
MRR
business.
just, yeah,
Now it's a business.
amazing, amazingly well. Yeah.
Well, as I said, Chris, I really figure that like 80% of businesses are exactly the same. But figuring out how do I create margin, how do I
Mm,
protect, increase, and build margin, and how do I establish processes to ensure retention? That is 80 to 90% of what a business needs to do. Just those two things. Everything fits
yeah.
within those two things. Customer satisfaction is important. How people buy from you is your brand, big part of it. And if you say what you mean what you say.
That's very
Like,
important. Yeah. You
hmm,
gotta
it's
stick to your
already
word
a
and you
friend
gotta
of
mean
mine,
it.
and he'll love this. His name's Baxter. He said to me,
Yeah.
imagine if you just said our business was called Baxter's World Class Pizza. Now, does the whole team know what is expected with the pizza? You don't need a manual. It's just going to be world class.
Straightforward. Yeah. That's it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Cool, David. That was amazing. And I had an amazing time on this podcast and I got a lot of insights from you. Thank you so much for taking the time. I hope you also had fun and you enjoyed
I did.
answering the questions.
No, you're a good bloke,
Yes.
Chris. Love our earlier chat and today. It's
Cheers. Cheers,
fantastic. I
mate.
love what you're doing. You're doing a cool job. You
Yes,
enjoying it
thank you so
yourself?
much. Yes, yes, it's fun. I love it. I get to meet amazing people like yourself. And I just made a post on LinkedIn right now about how this journey has been of podcasting. So it's just been like a couple of months, but it's taken off on its own. So yeah, it's been fun.
Good on you, mate. I really appreciate being on the show. And to the audience, thank you for listening and keep building because we need people to solve maybe, there's not enough people on the planet to solve the number of problems we've got, really, I reckon. So we just got to get on with it, make it happen. And above all, be authentic and let AI do what it can, but keep being as human as possible.
Love it. Love it. Love that final message, David. Also, before I let you go, if there's anybody from my audience who wants to reach out to you or work with you in the future, how should they connect with you?
Well, they can. They can either look at the website, which is called epicexecution.com. They can reach me on David Kenney on LinkedIn. Do that. They can tune into some of the cool things we have in store. Tune into Instagram. And if they even want to reach out and get like a free chapter of the book, as your friend Chris, no problem. If they want to ask a question. In fact, we're doing something very exciting because of this Startup World Cup. I met a group in South America
Mm,
and we're doing a live stream event as well
mm,
because I love it when people share ideas, opportunities, and this is what is really cool about the Run Over Waters. No, my team, your team is our team.
yeah.
So if anyone wants to reach out, David at epicexecution.com. And also, a little thing I've been working on lately is my Substack, which
Mm,
is called DK Blackbox, and written articles on some of the best Australian companies and why they're getting very high multiples. I call it the genius to ease ratio, or the GP to token,
okay.
whatever you want to call it. And also just influencers versus creators. So it's a bit of a place to go and explore new ideas and test, what works and how it should be for founders and making life easy because it's one of the most noble things you can do on the planet is start a business, solve a problem for people, create employment, create opportunities, create lives that, are
Absolutely.
better. And
Absolutely.
you keep doing what you do, brother, because it's pretty important.
Cheers. Cheers, David. Thank you so much. And you could maybe send me the links of the websites and everything you mentioned. So I'll put it down in the description of the video as well. So anybody can have easy access to it. Cool. Thank
Cheers.
you so much, David. Cheers. Have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.